In the early hours of the morning, 2 days before the annual Carnival of Time, a strange ball of light appears in the night sky above Romani Ranch, a small farm in Termina. Observed by nobody but Romani herself, a child, the light darts back and forth across the sky, moving with unnatural precision and speed. Then, from this light, shapes begin to descend, haunting, cloaked figures with empty, glowing eyes, slowly moving towards the farm. Who, or what, the creatures that arrive at Romani Ranch are is never explained, and their invasion is one of the Zelda series' biggest mysteries. They're referred to in various guides and official sources as ghosts, or simply them, and their only appearance in any game is on this night at Romani Ranch. Many aspects of Majora's Mask are largely unexplained. It's one of the strangest, most surreal games in the series, but this invasion stands out as one of the most unsettling events during Link's quest through Termina. So today, let's have a closer look at the mystery of Majora's Mask's aliens. Upon first arriving at Romani Ranch on the first day, we can find Romani herself apparently playing with a bow and arrow. She'll introduce herself and give Link the name of Grasshopper because of his green clothes. She explains that she wasn't playing, she was practicing for tonight when they come. According to Romani, every year when the carnival approaches, they come riding in a bright, shining ball, and move towards the barn apparently because of the cows. Romani's older sister, Cremia, doesn't believe her, leaving her to defend the ranch alone. However, with Link here, Romani has help. She explains that the strange balloon floating near her is used for target practice, as they are vulnerable to arrows. Later that night, at around 2 AM, Romani sneaks out of her house and heads to the barn to protect the cows. Link remains outside, waiting for their arrival. At 2:30 AM, Romani's claims are proven true. A ball of light appears in the sky and a horde of creatures appear in the fields. Floating shapes with claw-like hands who begin to glide towards the barn. Using the hero's bow, Link can repel the invaders. One arrow is enough to slay each ghost, but another will directly take its place. The assault continues until dawn, when the sunlight appears to cause the beings to retreat. The glowing ball of light reappears, seemingly carrying them back to where they came from. However, if Link fails to stop the creatures, the invasion has a different outcome. If they reach the barn, then the glowing ball will move directly above it. Suddenly, a beam of light shoots down, tearing apart the barn's thatched roof, and the creatures ascend, taking with them the cows and Romani herself before flying into the distance. The next day, the cows are gone, but Romani inexplicably returns to the ranch, though she's not the same. She's found running aimlessly around the field, confused and mute, and is asleep by 6 PM that night. The next day, she simply sits on a crate outside the ranch and will allow Link to practice shooting the balloons, but can't remember what this practice is for. Whatever happened to her after she was abducted by the creatures has damaged her mind. She can't remember the invasion and holds her head in apparent pain. Romani Ranch is run entirely by the two sisters, ever since it was left to them by their late father. It's never explained how he passed away, but Cremia explains that it's been a while since it happened. Their mother is never mentioned, aside from the name of their house, Mama's house. It's possible that this Mama died at the same time as their father, but if that's the case, it's strange that she's not mentioned by Cremia. Instead, I think it's more likely that the girl's mother died, or left, a long time before their father, hence why she's never mentioned. At the risk of getting into speculation, it's entirely possible that the girl's father, and perhaps even their mother too, was killed or abducted by these ghosts. Romani makes it clear that they've appeared at least one time before, as she knows about the ghosts and how they attack. She sets up the practice balloons around the ranch because she knows that they're weak to arrows, and even draws up defensive plans in her bedroom, detailing how she aims to defeat them. So perhaps the girl's father, who we know ran the ranch before his passing, died protecting it against these invaders. While many aspects regarding the ghosts aren't clear, one thing is their target. They all make a beeline directly for the barn, and as soon as they reach it, they proceed to abduct the cows and leave. While Romani is returned at some point after she's taken, the cows are never seen again, giving us reason to believe that stealing them was the sole purpose of the invasion. The cows at Romani Ranch aren't ordinary. They're Romani bred, able to produce the special Chateau Romani. This milk is not only implied to be alcoholic, but also magical. It provides Link with unlimited magic power until he resets the cycle. Regardless of who these invaders are, if they're at all magical in nature, then stealing the cows whose milk has these magical properties is reason enough for the attack on the ranch. A popular theory for the culprits behind the attack on the ranch blames the Gorman brothers, rival farmers who envy the quality of Romani Ranch's prized milk. The brothers are constantly trying to sabotage the sisters' farm, breaking bottles of milk, terrorizing cows, and even blocking Milk Road with a boulder to prevent Cremia's deliveries to Clocktown. On the second day, if Link has defended Romani Ranch from the ghosts, he can help Cremia deliver milk to Clocktown. During this journey, the Gorman brothers wear Garrow masks and chase the cart on horseback, trying to destroy the shipment. Out of everyone, it makes the most sense for the Gorman brothers to be responsible for the invasion on the first day. The ghosts specifically target the cows, the prized cattle who make Chateau Romani. Without them, the ranch is worthless. The fact that the brothers own Garrow masks shows that they're connected, at least slightly, with darker, more sinister powers than we'd expect from a group of criminals. The Garrow were once the rivals of the Akana kingdom, who now, even in death, continue to spy on the region. Notably, the brothers' reaction if Link fails to defend Romani Ranch hints that they might know something about the invasion. However, this doesn't seem like something the brothers could organize. They're definitely criminals who without second thought terrorize and sabotage their neighbors, but I just can't see them being able to somehow summon these sinister creatures every year, who appear from a ball of light near the Carnival of Time. If the brothers somehow had the ability to call down an army of cow-abducting ghosts, why would they bother with plots like blocking the roads or smashing bottles or chasing down the cart? They're selfish and nefarious, sure, but I think what happens on the first night is far more sinister and far more strange. The creatures are based on the Flatwoods Monster, a famous American alien sighting. On the 12th of September 1952, around 7:15 PM, something bright streaked across the sky above the town of Flatwoods, West Virginia. Two brothers, Ed and Freddie May, along with their mum and a few other boys, travelled to a nearby farm, where they believed that the object had landed. After travelling to a hill on the farm, the group discovered, to their horror, that they were no longer alone. They came face to face with a creature around 10 feet tall, with claw-like hands and a head shaped like a spade. The creature's eyes glowed with a sickly greenish-orange light, and according to some sources, it hissed at the group and began to glide towards them, causing them to flee in terror. It's since been concluded that the Flatwoods Monster may well have been a barn owl disturbed by the group, and the bright object in the sky was most likely a meteor. But regardless, the description of the monster, a tall, gliding figure with a strange hooded head, glowing eyes and claw-like hands, perfectly matches the appearance and movements of Romani Ranch's ghosts. Even the glowing ball from which the ghosts appear fits with the story of this cryptid, matching the supposed meteor spotted on the night of the 12th of September. Although not directly linked to the Flatwoods Monster, the Romani Ghost's abduction of livestock is a trope commonly linked to aliens, like this newspaper excerpt from the 70s. Regardless of whether or not they aim to steal the cows for their magical Chateau Romani, the act of abducting the cows at all is directly because they're based on aliens. They even lift the livestock from the barn via what appears to be a tractor beam. In fact, this connection is outright confirmed in a 2015 interview with A.G. Aonuma. An interviewer from GameSpot asks the Zelda director, "One thing that felt very different from other Zelda games was the section where you're rescuing Romani Ranch and its cows from aliens. When I played this game as a kid, I thought that they were sent by the Gorman brothers, but replaying it now, they were definitely just a weird, alien-like presence. What was the inspiration behind their inclusion?" To which Aonuma replies, "Really? I'd never heard anything like your Gorman brothers theory before. I'll have to remember that. But the reason we used this at the time was because Japan was experiencing something of a UFO boom, and it even went so far as for shows on TV to cover it and explain to people what cattle mutilation was. So even to see words as scary as cattle mutilation on TV, and the idea of UFOs abducting people led to this whole idea of Earth being invaded by aliens becoming rather popular. I thought that it would be really interesting and scary to use this in a game. That's how we decided to go with that. So Romani Ranch's visitors in the night are actually visitors, travelers from another world, inspired by UFO mania in Japan during Majora's Mask's development, and modelled after a famous American alien sighting. They weren't summoned by the Gorman brothers, at least not in the eyes of Aonuma. They're something else, something completely disconnected from Termina and its people. This is supported by a photograph found at the Stockpot Inn in the 3DS remake, a flying saucer above the trees, and a sketch found in Cremia and Romani's room, the same saucer flying above the ranch. It's not clear when these were taken and drawn, but considering that neither of them appear to be at night, which is when the aliens appear every year, it's possible that the beings have visited Termina more frequently than we thought. So, to answer the question of who these creatures are, what they want, and where they're from, the only actual answer we have is, we don't know. And we're not meant to. They're not part of the rivalry between two competing farms. They're not even connected to Majora and its dark powers. They're beings from beyond this world, who we've never seen before and likely will never see again. We'll never know what they did to Romani after she was abducted, just like we'll never truly know what happened to real people who claim to have been abducted by visitors. During Majora's Mask's end credits, we see Romani and Cremia at the ranch. Romani looses 3 arrows in quick succession, taking out 3 practice balloons, and Cremia applauds. Even though Link successfully defended the ranch from the invaders, Romani expects them to return next year, as they always have. But this time, she'll be ready. It seems that Cremia might finally believe her, and her skill with the bow is improving fast. Even though on the first night, without Link's support, the aliens succeed, Romani now seems to have the confidence to face them without his help. Termina is a weird place. A bizarre, parallel world full of familiar faces worn by strange characters. As Aonuma puts it, it's something familiar that has been warped in a very unusual and interesting way. And it just so happens that, in this weird land, aliens exist. Not ghosts or disguised spies, visitors from another world. Their purpose entirely unknown. We don't know if similar beings exist somewhere beyond Hyrule too. It's possible, but perhaps the existence of these beings is just one more strange thing about Termina. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like or subscribe if you haven't already for more Zelda content. What do you think about Majora's Mask's aliens? What do you think they want with Romani Ranch's cows? Let me know in the comments down below. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time.